Welcome to the City of Baltimore's training for electronic Form I-9 and E-Verify integration with Workday. The City of Baltimore has adopted the electronic Form I-9 as a part of its onboarding process for new employees. This session's objectives include describing the purpose and process of EI-9 and E-Verify, identification of the employer requirements with EI-9 and E-Verify, and demonstrating how the electronic Form I-9 is completed in Workday and subsequently sent to E-Verify. The paper Form I-9 may still be required in some rare instances. When there's a system failure, the paper Form I-9 may be used only with the approval of the Department of Human Resources. The purpose of the Form I-9 is to verify the identity and employment authorization status of individuals hired in the United States. In order to satisfy that mandate, proper completion of the Form I-9 is required for every individual hired in the United States. With the city's adoption of the electronic Form I-9 and the E-Verify process, this graphic below is a brief detail of what the process will be going forward. The new hire completes I-9 Section 1 and submits it in the Workday system to the I-9 coordinator. The I-9 coordinator will review Section 1 and complete Section 2, along with attaching copies of the employee's identification documents. If there are any issues with the documents or with the way the employee completed the form, the I-9 coordinator has responsibility to send the form back to the employee to make the appropriate corrections. If there aren't any corrections, or if the employee has made the corrections and subsequently resubmitted, it becomes incumbent upon the I-9 coordinator to submit to E-Verify for final submission through the Workday system. At that time, the Workday system will create a case with E-Verify, and the system will check the I-9 data listed with the databases that E-Verify uses to help verify employment authorization status. Electronic Form I-9 process and E-Verify Workday integration. The City of Baltimore has elected to integrate its Form I-9 and E-Verify processes within the Workday system. The process for completion is as follows. The new employee completes the electronic Form I-9 in Workday. The new employee presents the required documents to a member of the agency's HR team, either by video link, fax, or email, in accordance with the most recent USCIS guidelines. Subsequently, that member of the agency's HR team, identified as the I-9 coordinator, attests to the validity of the documents presented, and the data is sent to E-Verify from Workday. The response from E-Verify is usually received within 24 hours. However, it can take up to 3 days if there are issues with matching the data. Here's an E-Verify overview of the employer requirements. Employers that use E-Verify must clearly display the notice of E-Verify participation and the right to work posters in English and Spanish. They also must complete the I-9 form and submit it within 3 days of the employee's hire date. They must ensure all personally identifiable information, PII, is safeguarded. They must obtain a social security number from each newly hired employee on the electronic Form I-9. They must enter the employee's email address in E-Verify if it was provided on Form I-9. And finally, they must ensure that Form I-9 List B identity documents have a photo. Employers that use E-Verify must not use E-Verify to pre-qualify candidates for employment, nor must they specify or request which I-9 document an employee must use, except to specify that any I-9 List B document the employee chooses to present must contain a photo. And finally, employers must not use E-Verify to discriminate against any job applicant or employee based on his or her national origin, citizenship, or immigration status. Let's have a look at what the system looks like when you go in to complete the I-9. This slide is the employee information and attestation section. The I-9 and Workday is the same as the I-9 paper form. The data entered on the I-9 must match the Social Security Administration and the Department of Homeland Security databases. Section 1 of the I-9 must be completed by new employees. An error message will be displayed to indicate information has not been entered for any required field. Required fields are the ones with the asterisk. If information is not entered for a single required field, the I-9 form cannot be submitted to HR. Continuing with the employee information and attestation page, as you can see, it requires the employee's date of birth, which has an asterisk, which indicates that it's a required field, and as we discussed earlier, the Social Security number as well. As it states, the attestation for the second red box says that under penalty of perjury, that the employee indicates that they are one of the four below. Aliens that are authorized to work in the United States must enter only one of the three documents listed in the bottom box to the left. The alien registration number, USCIS number, or Form I-94 admission number, or their foreign passport number. Employee information and attestation continue. This section requires the signature of the employee to attest that what they've stated is true. Checking the I agree box indicates that you are signing this form electronically. If you use a translator or preparer to help complete Section 1 of the I-9, then enter the total number of translators and preparers that you used. If the employee did not use a translator or preparer to help complete Section 1, then they should leave the how many field as 0. The signature of preparer or translator box is essentially the same as the attestation for the new employee, but it's where the translator or preparer would indicate that they assisted the employee. Once all the fields are completed, click Submit. The I-9 coordinator will be notified that your portion of the I-9 is complete. Click Save for later if you want to save the information you've entered. You may return later to complete the I-9. Click Cancel if you do not want to save the information you've entered. No information will be saved. Section 2. Section 2 of the I-9 must be completed by the I-9 coordinator. The I-9 coordinator must select either one document from List A or one document from List B and one document from List C. An error message will be displayed to indicate information has not been entered for any required field. If information is not entered for a single required field, the I-9 form cannot be submitted to E-Verify. The I-9 coordinator can select one of the documents from List A. In the document title box, there's a list bar that you can select, which will display the different types of documents that the employee may have provided. Section 2 continued. The expiration date provides you with a calendar box that you can enter the date in without having to type the date yourself. In the I-9 coordinator, if provided with documents from Section B, can click the document title list box there to provide them with a list of the potential documents from List B. The same is true for List C. And at the very bottom, there's an attestation page or section for the employer or authorized representative that by checking the box, they've acknowledged that they've read the attestation statement above and are electronically signing the Form I-9. If the I-9 coordinator has not completed Section 2 of the I-9 form within 3 days of the new employee's hire date, then an overdue reason must be identified. The two most common and acceptable reasons for an overdue are an E-Verify outage, meaning some technical issue that prevented employers from entering the information, or that the employee has applied for but has not received yet a Social Security number. Otherwise, penalties may incur for any instance where I-9 coordinators have not completed and submitted Section 2 of the I-9 form within the 3-day time frame. Specifically, the City of Baltimore may be fined between $234 and $2,332 per instance of violation. Additional information. For questions regarding E-Verify integration with Workday, the Form I-9, or immigration policy, please send them to workday@baltimorecity.gov. For technical issues with submissions and statuses in E-Verify, please reach out to DHR's HRS team at dhrsystems.support@baltimorecity.gov.